So what did you get up to? You just said before I hit record that you were stuck in traffic. Are you coming home from a session or where have you been this afternoon?
No, it's one of my teammates, Lori's birthdays. So she's also gluten free. So Seattle's like the perfect place for her to have her birthday party because literally the place we went, it was all like molten chocolate cakes and it was all gluten free. Like there was no gluten option, and that's Seattle for you. Like it's a great place to be if you have some weird food thing. So
Oh my gosh! See, I've got a brother-in-law who lives in Port. He lives in Oregon, actually in Medford. But a couple of times
mm-hmm.
we went into Portland, and it sounds like you're given similar vibes from Seattle. Is it that kind of vibe? Like you've got like really wanky coffee choices and really wanky food choice. It sounds as though it could just be Melbourne in America.
Yeah, well, Portland's like next level. Like I'd say Seattle's a place where everyone can go, but Portland's like if you're. I'm from Alabama, but I'm not a typical Alabamian. But like an Alabamian could survive in Seattle. They would hate Portland so much. They'd be like, "What the hell is this? Where the fuck's my burger?" Sorry.
It's so good. It's so yeah. Is that right? Okay, so it's funny. I'm from a place in Victoria called or in Australia called Gippsland, which is sort of country Victoria, and I feel a lot
Really?
of country Victorians would have that same sentiment as like the Alabamians of
Mm-hmm.
just looking for a burger rather than like a soy decaffeinated flat white.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They
no.
probably they don't even. I promise you, they don't even know what that is. Like if you went to my town in rural Alabama, you asked for a soy decaffeinated white, they'd be like, "What are you talking about? Like we have coffee. Is that what you want?"
Have
It's
you?
pretty sad.
That's so funny. Have you been in Seattle for long?
Yeah, so I've been here for 2.5 years. Wait, just over 2.5 years, but I'm probably leaving soon. Which is sad, but like, this just sometimes whenever you have new business opportunities, you have to leave. So I don't know when I'll leave, either like in March or this summer, but I'm pretty bummed. But it is what it is.
Yeah. So where are you heading back to, or where are you heading off to?
Well, it's not official yet, so I haven't signed any papers, but um, yeah, I don't know if they'd want me saying it right now, to be honest.
No, fair enough. No, play it safe. Play it safe. Otherwise, it'll be
Yeah,
awkward for
yeah.
everyone.
Play it safe with the new team because I started out on the wrong foot with Brooke, so I really want to start out well with this new company.
So you're moving. Okay, awesome. So you got a new sponsor without going too far into it. You are,
Yeah,
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 that's good.
exactly.
That's good. No, you're a smart woman, playing it very safe. So how long would
Yeah.
you say you've been in Seattle for 2.5 years?
2.5 years.
You moved up there for your running?
Yeah, so I was in Birmingham, Alabama, and Brooks offered me a contract, and I've watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy, so I was like, yes, Seattle, that's where I want to be. And I didn't meet McDreamy. I only got McDepressed, and that's my line.
Well, you didn't enjoy it.
Oh no, I did. I just hated it in the beginning because I was here for a couple months, and then COVID hit. So like,
Oh no.
I'm in this new place, and I literally I can't hang out with anyone because Seattle's a place I was, and rightfully so, very strict about COVID. So like I get here, I'm here for like 3 months trying to like adjust, but at the same time, I made a lot of mistakes in that adjustment period, which I'll surface level. Like I tore my hamstring at a Halloween
Oh,
party, and I lost an internship. Like as soon as I moved there, and then COVID hit, so it was just like it was back to back hits.
that's really right. That sounds like a good Halloween party, though. What happened there?
Oh, it was incredible. I hadn't even moved to Seattle for a week. And I was like, how do I prove myself to my new friends? I was like, sick dance move. Like that has to be the only way. So I'm out here double fisted. And I'm like, I'm wearing an average Joe's jersey. That's my costume. That's like the cherry on top. And I'm like, I look at my friend now and I'm like, watch this. I do this move where I like crisscross, down, up, like down into the splits and up. And I come up and I'm just like, I gotta go home. It's only 10 o'clock at this point, so it wasn't the best start.
Oh my gosh. At least you went out with style. So did you make the full split, or was it what you got halfway
Oh
down and then the hammy went?
no, I made the full split. Like my ass hit the ground, and I came back up, and
That's
I had
yeah.
actually I'd done it at my sister's wedding like 2 months before, but that was in Alabama, and we were in Oregon, so it was just a little bit colder. So didn't work out. Didn't quite make it that time.
That's so impressive. At least, yeah, it would have been more embarrassing. I would have got halfway down and done the hammy. So at least you would, at least you fully committed to the cause. No, well done, well done. So what's that? A hamstring? That's about 6 weeks out of action, is it, or 4 weeks out of action?
It was a pretty bad tear. So I was out of action for 6 weeks, but also I had just gotten off my break. So it's like I just taken a month off, and then I just started building again. I'd taken another 6 week off. So essentially, I like took 3 weeks off.
Yeah,
and that was the start to my pro career, so it was a bit rocky.
Well, that's the first couple of months with Brooks, was it?
Yeah, Garrett. Do you know Garrett Heath?
No, actually.
He's a guy on the team, and he told me he beat Mo Farah once in a cross country race, and that's like claim to fame. But he told me he did not think I was going to make it through my full contract. Like, he thought full and well I would get kicked off the team.
What? So you got a reputation for being a bit of a party girl, have you? What, causing a little bit of trouble?
I mean, that's what happens when you go to a Baptist college. Like, you just kind of break out of your shell after college. Like, it wasn't even after high school. It was after college when I saw the light. I was like, oh, this is what life is
like. What? So, yeah, Alabama, fairly conservative, huh? So you get out into the big wide world and you start causing a little more trouble.
A little bit. Because, at a Baptist college, like, I was actually the rebel at the Baptist college, because sometimes I missed church on Sunday, so I was pretty bad. But then I came to Seattle, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm not the baddie anymore. Well, I gotta step up my game,
Oh, that's so funny.
Stepped it up a little too far and tore the old hand.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I reckon that's a perfect way to start developing friendships, though, just to be the talk of the town. Like, do you hear about Karisa just bringing up the splits night one here in Seattle? 4 weeks out with an injury. That's hardcore. That's a good story. You said what, you just finished like your end of season break. Do you, at the end of each season, are you a pretty big fan of taking a few weeks completely off?
I am. So I usually, in college, I took 2 weeks off because we had cross country, and since I started my pro career, I really like 2 to 3 weeks off because things just get so much more intense. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, whenever running is the only thing you do, like, you become super hyper obsessed, which is like bad and good. Like, I can't really speak for my time at Brooks because I was injured the whole time. So I don't know how the training would have worked for me. Like, this is the first time I've been healthy with their training. So we'll see, like, with this upcoming season. But, yeah. What was the original question?
I was asking about whether or not the end of season break something you do on an annual basis, because I sort of flirted with a couple of end of season breaks, and I was just curious to know what that looks like for you.
Yeah, so after outdoor season, I'll take like a 3-week break, and if I have an injury, then I'll take like a 4-week break. So there's a couple 4-week breaks because I had really bad bursitis or some Achilles issue, but this past year I only took, I think, 3 weeks off.
Yeah, no. And is that completely off?
The first 2 are, but the third week's like you kind of become a hobby jogger. You run like every other day for like 20 minutes, like, what the retired life would look like.
Yeah, beautiful. That was sort of it's interesting you say that, because I haven't ran competitively now since 2013, I think was my last season. But like towards the end of my running career, I'd get to about so the end of track season over here, I always like to take 2 weeks completely off, or I trialed that for a little while. And I don't know how you find it, but one of the things I often noticed is if I took 2 weeks completely off and then got back into any form of hard running, it was an embarrassment trying to get back out and get my body back into action. It was just I feel like I responded better off maybe like that every other day running.
Mm-hmm. No, it's because being out of shape is horrible. Like, I understand why regular people hate running so much. Like, unless you actually train, running sucks. Like, if you're not used to it, it's horrible. So yeah, I take my 2 weeks off and I start running again. And I really don't like running. Like, I'm excited to get back, but every run is so difficult because I swear, like, I don't know how, but like, I've doubled my body weight and I just forgot how to run. I'm like, is this how regular people feel when they run? Like, Jesus, no wonder why they hate it.
Yeah,
like, I would hate it too.
That's so funny. It's interesting you say that as well, because one question I get a lot is so it's like a broad range of people who listen to this podcast. Some are brand new, and it's always interesting hearing the brand new people reach out and ask questions like, hey, Tice, I've been running now for a few weeks. some days I just absolutely hate it. Like, is that just evidence that I'm not a runner? And it's like, look, trust me, just like anything else, you're gonna have days where you absolutely hate being out there and running. But actually, I'm gonna steal a quote from you because I was reading an article or an interview of yours, and I liked your little analogy, just talking about those days of being like money in the bank. You don't necessarily feel like being out there, but if you can just be disciplined enough to get out, put the money in the bank, store something up, it's beneficial in the long run, despite the fact it feels horrific on that day.
Yeah, like you're gaining value. The value's it's going up. It's just you might not feel it until later on.
Yeah, so, that's a good point.
That's definitely how I feel.
Yeah, running, it always tends to sort of reward those who are super consistent. Hey, I'll just keep showing up month on month on month. It'd be nice if it was such a 1-day result where you could turn around, you do your training. Where that'd be, I feel like the running scene would be so much bigger if it was a game like that.
That would be a great change, actually. I mean, not really, but like to grow the sport.
Yeah, that's right. Overnight results. So what phase of your training are you in at the moment? I've seen you've had a couple of races and you've had a couple of, what was it, an 800 and a 1500 in the indoor
season? An 800 and a 1500. They were both like pretty slow races, but I'd also like to point out I am a very serious runner. It's just in the fall, like I do loosen up a lot. But so my 800 was in Albuquerque, and it was literally just me and Lori, our other 800 girl, and then all these other people who were like college. So they were running slow, 210 or slower. So I knew that I had to go out really hard if I wanted to run a good 8. So I go out and I run like 60 by myself, nobody behind me. I felt like literally by myself. And then like Lori got me at the very end, but it was a tough race. I felt like it was a time trial because there's no one around me, but Danny was happy with it. So if the coach says it's a good one, then you just take it.
Yeah, for sure. That's good. So 60 seconds by yourself, that's not mucking around. That's pretty serious. What have you run for 800?
I've run 204.5, I think, but that day was a 206 because going out in 60 by yourself, you pay the price later. It was like 60.2 and then 65.8. It was a tough one. It ended really tough.
That's tough. Yeah. No, 800 by yourself. Always, if you can have a group of girls around you or a group of athletes around you, just for that first, it's amazing how much easier a 60 seconds can feel. Exactly. Like I've had a couple of races. I was more sort of 3-5K, but the 800s I did, I was always lucky enough not to be the fastest bloke in the field. So I always got dragged around. But at like over here, we call it interclub. So if we had like an interclub race where, it might have had a couple of guys running 205 or 210 or whatever, I know that feel. I've dabbled in that scene of trying to maintain a pace by yourself. It's a tough gig. So what's the plan for you now? Like you're obviously the season's just getting started for you, the indoor season. Is it just a bit of a laying of foundation or like whereabouts in your training and sort of your headspace you're in now for the next couple of months?
Yeah, so right now I'm pretty locked in, but I'm not all the way locked in because I personally can only like maintain being hyper locked in for like 3 months max, and then I start like losing self-discipline and falling apart. Like there's cracks in my headspace, I suppose. So right now, like I really wanted a good indoor season, but it wasn't the main point. Like outdoors is everything. So I was a little risky with indoors. We had a one-shot race for the 1500 to make USA's, and I don't think I got in. It was a slow race. Jessica Hull was in it as well. She ran like 4:11, and I finished behind her in a 4:14. So we went out pretty slow, but yeah, I'm pacing a race this weekend. But the next weekend, if I don't get into USA's, I'll do a race in BYU and then maybe one more. But like I said, indoors is kind of just, it's important, but it's more preparing for, it's like a practice round for what's most important, which is outdoor season.
Sure. Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. 4:14 off a slow race isn't mucking around. Like you're obviously in pretty good form. Like Jess Hull, I know the last 2 seasons or the last 2 years, she's just sort of blown everyone's mind over here, probably over there as well.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Karisa, am I coming through echoey? I don't know if it's just if I've got like a weird little echo in it could just be my headphones, but I just wanted to ask in case it was doing your head in. But if it's not, I can just keep going because I wasn't sure whether it was going to be horrific and you were noticing it. No, it's not. It's definitely not you. I wasn't. So don't worry.
Well, I can put on my headphones if you think it's me.
No, it's definitely not you. I could just hear it's like this weird little echo, and I thought it might have been my headphones, but I was just making sure it's only me that it's annoying and it's not you. Because I thought if it's annoying you as well, it's going to annoy everyone else. But maybe I'll just swap this headphone. No,
Oh
that's
no,
good.
it's not annoying me. I grew up with a little sister. It takes a lot to annoy me. She was a
Sorry,
wreck.
I've thrown you on a little tangent there. We're just saying, yeah. So Jess is and yourself are obviously in some pretty decent form then, because 4:14 off a relatively slow indoor race is great running.
For indoors, yeah, because I think that converts to like a 4:32, which isn't a really impressive time, but we went out in 35. That's 70s for 400. That's a jog. And we had a pacer. I was like, come on, guys. Like, let's go. But it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to take it. You take it. I'm not going to take it. You take it. End up being the Spider-Man meme of everyone like pointing at each other like, okay, who's going to take
this? So what happened with the pacemaker? What, they just got muddled up with the time?
No, the pacemaker went out well. Nobody wanted to go with her. And like, I'm trying to build my confidence here. So I'm like, I'm not going. Like, I sacrificed myself 2 weeks ago by taking out 860. Like, I'm not doing that again. Like, I want to race.
I thought you meant the pacemaker went out in 35. I thought, oh man, they're at the wrong race. They're at the wrong meet. It should be a primary school meet.
Yeah, they're like, wait, no, this is professional. This is not high school. But no, she went out fine. Just nobody went with her because once the pacer drops, that automatically makes you in the lead. So nobody wanted to have that lead position once she dropped.
Yeah, okay. Does your training change much throughout the season? Or I'm always interested to know, because I reckon usually, like, Americans, from what I can tell, and from the friends of mine who have spent time over there, you guys, I reckon, have like a bit of a different structure in a lot of senses to what we have over here. Like your long runs, I follow a few people on Strava, and the long runs of like the American college students are insanely fast. Whether over here, like the long runs, they're a little bit more tapered, they're a little bit more relaxed. Mm-hmm. And I got a mate, I don't know if you know the name Craig Huffer. He ran for, I think it was Adams State, maybe. Mm-hmm. He ended up running like a 3:36. But just got smacked with injuries and stuff, which was a bummer. But one of the things I noticed when he got to the States as well from Australia was his long runs just all of a sudden became like threshold runs. So are you like, what's the go with your sort of approach to the longer running scene? Are you a bit of a, hey, let's lift the pace and go for it, or is that like a recovery kind of aerobic easy sort of day for you?
It's definitely not an easy day, but it's also changed with the different coaches that I've had. Like, I had 4 coaches in college. My first coach didn't care about the long run. My second coach, he thought of it as a recovery run. He was like, it's just time on feet, like, just do that. But then my last 2 coaches in college were like, it's a progression run. So I'd like get down to 6:38 average, which I'm honestly not a big, like, I don't run that fast on long runs compared to other girls, but that was fast for me. And then one of my teammates, Marta, she's gone like 6:10 pace average for a long run once. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like that would be such a hard workout for me. But Danny kind of looks at it as how you feel, which I really like a lot. So like, if you're feeling really bad, take it easy. But if you feel like you want to get after it a little, get after it a little. But he definitely doesn't want us to smash it, because when you crush a long run really hard on Sunday, like, it really screws you up for Tuesday, at least in my experience. So he tries to hold us back from absolutely crushing it. But some of the guys on the team are just so aerobically, like, their threshold for aerobic stuff pain wise is so high. Like, you have guys who are running, I don't know, I honestly don't know how fast they run, but like 5:10 pace average for a long run, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm fine, and I'm over here like, that would kill me. For the girl equivalent, like, that would kill me. It's just like, mentally, longer stuff is really difficult for me. But for some people, the longer runs, like, they almost find a sort of like meditation and being at that threshold. Whereas I'm like, I'm dying. I'm very aware that I have 10 miles left, and I am not happy about it.
How long are your long runs usually?
They're 14 miles usually.
14, what's that? 8:16. So I'm trying to do the conversion. What is that? That's like 22 Ks. I don't know if you know kilometers at all, do you? I think that's 22 Ks. Sorry to any American listeners who actually know that conversion off the top. I probably butchered it. No, 22 K.
We can do this because 5K is 3. So.
Oh, you work it out different. No, okay. So what I do, so 5 miles is 8 kilometers. So what did you say? 14. So that's 8, 16, 3.2, 6.4. Yeah, it's like 22.5 K, I think, or 23 K maybe. Take my word for it. Just don't check it. I'm a big
calculator person.
Don't check it, okay? I've said it with so much confidence. I don't want you to check it and realize that my confidence was all fake, and I've just made up.
Yeah, let me take out my scientific calculator here. That's in my closet. You're lucky.
I got away with it. Sorry, I took you on a random detour before. I was going to ask you about how your training varies throughout the course of a year, and I got stuck on the long run. So over here, I don't know. Do you know Nick Beddoe?
I don't think so.
No, Nick Beddoe, he coaches the likes of like Stewie McSwain and that top batch of Aussie runners. And
I've heard of Stewie.
Yeah, yes, I thought you might have.
Yeah, I've heard of
him. He's really kicked on, but he's got an interesting approach. Like Stewie ran 3:31 a couple of years ago, and when he ran 3:31, he was telling me that none of his training had been faster than 60-second for 400-meter pace. I was like, dude, what are you talking about?
What?
He's like, no, I would. So for him, I think the vibe I get, or from what I understand, he's doing like 130 to 160K. So it's at like 100 miles a lot of the weeks of the year. And then even when it comes to that really fast races, like the 1500s, he seems to have this awesome capacity just to be able to go, all right, let's just go. Like we'll just run it, whatever 3:30 pace is. And it just, whereas I was the opposite. When I was running 1500, like I ran 3:49, so I was nowhere near the level he was at. But my approach was like, I always felt like I needed some really fast 200s, just so when I got out to start running 15s, that pace felt like psychologically at least a little bit easier. So, and then you've got the flip side of that, like the flip side of the Stewies where 1500-meter runners are coming from pretty much just speed work. So I'm always fascinated to know, as like a middle distance girl or a middle distance runner, like what that play between speed and distance looks like throughout the course of a year.
Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of different ways to get the same place. You just have to play whatever works best for the athlete. Like everyone likes to pretend like there's, this one training or this one coach who knows exactly what he's doing and everything's great. But it's like, no, like it's just about like working hard and being efficient. And there's a lot of ways to get there. So it's like, you have to work smart, hard, and consistently. Because if you mess up any of those, you're screwed. So you just have to do that. But for me, I think I work best is like I do 65 miles a week. And yesterday we did a 4-mile tempo. And so when we take the longer stuff like that, we always end with something fast. So we're not always doing speed work, but if we do something like 4-mile tempo, we'll end with like 100s under 15 seconds. So I did like 6x100 under 15 seconds. So it's always, and I really like that. I think it's really important to do quick work when you're tired, because that's basically what a kick is.
That's so true. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. It's like you and 100s are so easy. Like your effort level for the day is not going to be that much higher if you do 100-meter sprints. Unless you're actually all out. But like the point is to just run fast.
Yeah, no, I always like that, especially after a long run, just because you see the marathon runners who have been in the scene for years and years and years, and they've nailed that marathon shuffle. Like they've got that little shuffle just down to it. But then you say sprint, they go, I don't understand the concept. I don't understand what you're trying to say. So that's nice. That's one thing I do with a lot of the athletes I work with as well is just try and inject some of that short, sharp stuff, because I'm a huge believer in that nice little balance. 65 miles a week is solid. That's a pretty solid routine.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of rounding up. I think it's more around 60. Like every once in a while, I'll hit 65 and be like, whoa, I'm at 65. Big mileage hog here. But no, it's probably closer to 60.
And are you doing most of your running with your training group, or do you do a lot of it by yourself?
No, I do it with the training group. But I don't know if I could be in running if I didn't have a training group, to be honest. But we meet every single day of the week except for Wednesday and Saturday. And Sunday's optional, but nobody wants to run a long run by themselves unless they're psycho. So we always meet up. Yeah,
beautiful. And what did you guys have on the schedule today? Or was it just focused on party today? Like there was no training involved?
No parties. No parties anymore. But today was like a recovery day. And one of my favorite things about Danny is one time I was talking to him, I was like, Danny, like I'm tired, like how slow is too slow? And he's like, there's no such thing. And I'm like, whoo! So I was literally going 9-minute pace yesterday for my double. And I did not care. It's tough though to let people run by you who you know aren't athletes. You're just like, I swear I'm good. Just show up to practice tomorrow. Like, I know you're dropping me now, but I could destroy you, because we're competitive. So when you get passed on Green Lake by some rando, you're just like, shit. Like it's so embarrassing.
True. It's so true. It's so funny. I feel like maybe Danny and I have a similar training approach, because I'm a really big fan of that of just running at a pace that you'd be embarrassed to be seen running at. Like that's the pace I
Helps
tell
the
people.
ego too.
100%. But it was so funny to hear you talk about what it feels like having someone run past you. I often have that. Like I live in a little coastal town here in Victoria, and there's not a whole heap of runners, and the people who are running are much older. So I go for a run along the beach over here, and sometimes I'll have maybe like a 45-year-old lady come past me, and I have the same attitude. I go, "Oh mate, I could smash you in a race. Like, are you kidding?" Like, and she runs past with this little strut, like, "Hey, good job, keep going."
An old lady. Oh, come on. Someone's grandma really did beat you.
Seriously.
You should
I'm
start
not sure.
handing out cards for people who pass you. Be like, here, come meet me at this time, this place, and we'll see who the real champ is.
I'll have a rest day before the race and everything.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, that's so funny. So at the moment, so you've given us a bit of an overview on the fact that it's not the most important time of the season. It's just a really essential time to, I guess, just get rid of the rust, like get prepped for that main season, which is the outdoor stuff. Have you got anything on the horizon that you're aiming for? Like you eyeing off world champs at the end of the year, or what are you sort of working towards on the outdoor season?
I mean, obviously making world champs would be phenomenal. Like that's always the goal. It's just right now I'm taking it one step at a time. Like you can never let go of your like real goal, but one thing that's really important is like not to hyper obsess on that. Like I love the process of running, like the everyday training of going with my teammates. And like right now, my goal is every day just to, like check off all the boxes and enjoy my life. But it's all going towards that one thing of like, yeah, I want to make the world championship team. Like that's anyone who's in the sport who doesn't like the goal is not to do that. They're hobby joggers. Like that should be your goal. But it's obviously going to be very tough. Like the Americans, if you want to make a team, you have to be running 4 flat or faster. And I believe I can do it. It's just a matter of actually doing it. And yeah, I mean, that's the goal. That's awesome. The dream.
That's all. Yeah, you guys have some fast girls at the moment, don't you? Like, who have you got running under 4 right now? You must have like three or four girls, would you?
So I don't know about Shelby. So technically Shelby Houlihan can run under 4, but I don't know. That's a non-issue, I suppose. But also Josette Norris. She was a huge breakout last year. She ran like a 10-second PR in 3:58. And obviously, what's her name? Dang it. I know who, Eleanor Purrier. She also is running under 4 minutes. And then we have a lot of girls running 4 flat and 4:01.
Who was the chick who, I think she won the Olympics? Like, it's embarrassing that I can't remember her name. I think she won it over 800. Is it like Atumu or?
Oh, don't make me say it on the spot.
Did I say it right?
I want to say Atimo.
Atumo. I just called it Atumu, which is horrific.
Atumu, that is definitely wrong. I mean, that's way worse. I hope she never hears this.
I was about to invite her on as well. I'm going to have to figure that out. That's so embarrassing.
Yeah, you need to figure out her name before.
How embarrassing. See, my last name's Popplestone, so I feel like I can throw a little bit of dirt at people with strange last names because I've copped it my whole life. So it's maybe just like built up tension and frustration. I just start just destroying names like that just out of spite, not because I actually don't know it. But she won the Moo. Let's just say Moo because I know that's a part of her name. Yeah. She won the 800, didn't she? In Tokyo. And is she running around in the 1500 at all, or is she more focused just on the 8?
She's done a mile and she's done the mile twice. One time she ran like 4:35 solo, I believe, and then she dropped out of Milrose, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sure. Man, it's some serious talent. It sounds like you've got a nice relaxed approach to the sport though. Like it's a really correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the distance running scene from my experience, it's a very OCD scene where people can get caught up on every like minute detail trying to just plan every step of the way, and there's just so many variables that can throw you out. So I feel as though you've got you seem to have a really healthy approach to the sport, like not taking it so seriously where you're just going to get depressed if you have an off day, but seriously enough that you can rock up to training. That's another thing that Stewie McSwain, just to reference another Aussie guy, he's great at. Like he has a reputation over here, like amongst. I trained with him when he was a lot younger, and even the group that he's training with right now say he's just the most relaxed customer going around. Like there's not a lot that can throw him out. And there's such a correlation. I always say this, but there seems to be such a correlation between the quality of athlete and how relaxed they are. Like Usain Bolt was always a incredible example, wasn't he? Just standing on the start line and looking like he didn't have a care in the world. And it's like the 100 meters Olympic final. Do you feel like that's a pretty good description? Are you a fair description, or like, are you a little bit under the surface? You can get a little bit more worked up than what you might let out.
Yeah, I can get pretty worked up. It's like, it's changed throughout my life. Like in college, I was pretty intense about running, but I also be like that person cracking jokes on the start line because I was so nervous. But the thing is, I also had like school. Like I'm really passionate about biochemistry and trying to go to medical school. So like I had running, but I also had school. And another thing with college is I was always successful. So I never had to deal with like doing worse. And that's been a really hard change in the pro world, is like all I had was running. So I was one of those people who was really intense. Like if I had a bad race, I was really low in the dumps. But also, I never really experienced bad races in college. Like this is the first time in my life that I've experienced failure, which is awesome. But also it was really hard to manage because I'm like, wait, I'm doing bad. Like that's not me. Like I don't know what's going on here. And so I would get like really hyper focused because I am the kind of person who I'm relaxed on the outside, but on the inside, I'm pretty intense. Like I'm like, I want to be the greatest. I'm going to do everything I can to be the greatest. Like I'll put someone's name in my head. I'm like, I'm going to beat this girl. But I also like to keep it relaxed because, I just don't like being super intense around people. Yeah. So I would say I was intense last year, but being intense and having success is fine. Like if you're being really intense and micromanaging and you're doing well, like you don't feel bad about it because it's working out. But when I started like having failure and I was being super intense, I was miserable because I only liked running because I was good at it. And I had to learn how to like running for the sport. Like last summer I had to decide like, okay, like I need to find a way to love running besides just being good at it, because I am experiencing failure right now. And I still PR, but it's still like I'm not top. So I was like, I got to find another way to love it, or I got to leave it. And I found another way to love it. And so things are going great now. And that's why I'm so much more relaxed. It's like, if I'm super intense all the time and I have this failure and running is the only thing in my life, I like shoot downhill. So now I have a lot of other stuff in my life and I'm just more relaxed. So I'm like, I just want to be happy. Honestly, I just want to enjoy my life. And I didn't in 2021 or 2020. I wasn't depressed, but I wasn't loving it.
Yeah. And that sounds like,
why I'm so relaxed.
Say that again. Sorry.
I said, so that's why I'm so relaxed now.
Yeah,
like, I just want to be happy.
That's really cool. Okay, I think it's interesting to hear you say that, like, that has been a little bit of a work in progress, because I know it's easy to look at a person like yourself who's just super bubbly and super up and about, and people go, "Oh, she's just got it all together." But I'm always fascinated to know how people like you maintain that real level of joy. And it sounds like you've maybe a little bit of it's natural, but a lot of it's been worked towards. So, like when you said you just mentioned that you had to find a way to enjoy your running, which was not based in necessarily just dominating every single race. What was that? Because you mentioned that you did find a way to enjoy it outside of that mindset.
Yeah, so I'd say after the outdoor season, I was pretty down. I was like, honestly, I just want to go to medical school and try and become a doctor. Like, that's going to make me really happy. But I was in a bad place. And it's like, you really shouldn't make a decision when you're in a bad place. So I went on vacation, and it was a cruise, typical American. I know, all you can eat. It was great. But I just had so much fun, like letting go. I also found out that I'm a perfectionist. So I had made all these rules in my head that I needed to do to be better. And it was like an endless list. Because as you get older, you learn new stuff and you add more stuff to that list of how to be the best athlete you can be. And I was so obsessed with like getting all this stuff done that I wasn't enjoying my life. And I was beating myself up every day. Like my self-talk was super negative, and I have a sports psych too who also helped me with this. Like my self-talk was negative. Like, Karisa, like all you have to do is this to be the best athlete you can be. Like, why aren't you doing it? So I was always beating myself up. And so the first factor was letting that go, like letting go of the perfectionist and just being like, okay, just do the training Danny prescribes you. Literally, there's 3 things on your grid for the day. You don't have to add freaking yoga and core and all this other shit that takes forever.
That's so funny. Wait, Karisa, let me just show you something. Give me 10 seconds. I'm going to show you this because I feel like you're describing me. And this, I feel like you'll appreciate it. Just give me 10 seconds. I'm going to get this board to show you.
I got to grab a charger too. So let's
go for it.
Okay.
This is making great viewing, isn't it? You getting your charger and me getting my board. But
Yeah,
I reckon
yeah.
I honestly I noticed that just intensity towards like trying to improve things as well. So each time I think of like another area of my life, I don't know why it's all been accumulated on this board, but look at this. Like this is all the things I'm like, all right, I just got to try and do some of these things each week. Do you know what I mean? With like a little circle around the ones
That's
that are
exactly
the
list that
most.
the list I had in my head.
It's so funny. So it makes me so happy to hear that there's other people like yourself who are functioning really well, who have to wrestle with that same thing. But you just mentioned that there's like it's such an easier approach when you say, okay, I'm just going to do 3 things today. Like Karisa, focus on these 3 things. How much easier is life when you eliminate like all the excess and just focus on the essential stuff? I don't know if you've heard much of the minimalists.
I've heard a little bit of it.
Yeah, but the minimalists, like two American guys that they have super practical, helpful information with like just eliminating the excess and focusing on the essential. And it's like the one message that I just constantly come back to because I feel as though I share that in common with you a little bit. I've got the tendency, if I'm not careful, just to go towards like, all right, let's just chuck another thing on the list.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like, so what I've done with myself is like, I have these 3 things that I really want to do today. Like I need to do my training. I need to do some door dashing because I haven't had a job in 2 months. And
Wait, what is DoorDash? I don't even know what DoorDash is.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I make $30 an hour. It's insane.
What is it?
In Seattle, it's basically Uber Eats. It's just a different app. And in Seattle, they have all these extra charges to pay the delivery drivers well. And like, I've never had a job pay this well before. Besides, Brooks. $30 an hour, man.
That is good. And are you getting like, so you're paid on an hourly basis, not on like a delivery basis?
No, it's on a delivery basis. So every time I get to interact with the customer, I try to get that tip. I'm super nice. I'm friendly. And it's awesome. Like, you just drive, you pick up the food and drop it off.
Yes.
People pay $30 to get food delivered to their door. So you get like $10 of that.
That is awesome. And what? So that's right. Cause you guys are really big tippers as well. That's something no one here does. So what you're there, and I'm sure with your personality, like a couple of like flatters of the eyelids and like a big smile and a conversation, what you're leaving there with plenty of tips.
Yeah, but the problem is the mask is really holding me back, man. I'm like, damn, like I need to get a clear mask. They can't see my smile. They just see the eye crinkle.
Sorry, I cut you off at your second thing. So you're training, your DoorDash, and then I think there was one more thing that you're about to tell me.
I'm studying to go to medical school, so the MCAT.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So
that's
I'm trying to get 3 things in. Yeah. Because I love like all the different aspects of life, like growing physically and mentally and spiritually. Like I try to cover those bases every day at the minimum. And like, income. I need income. And then like, if I ever want to do something else, like there's the list where there's the extra stuff that I can do, like if I want to, but I only do it if I want to. Because you can only make yourself do so much in a day. If like all day you're just forcing yourself to do stuff you don't really want to do, it's going to just make you miserable. Like, honestly.
Yeah, it's such a good point. When you say spiritually, like what kind of stuff are you doing there?
So I guess I call myself a modern Christian because I don't hold a lot of the beliefs that are kind of judgmental, I suppose, or like I view judgmental. And I try to like read something every day that like grows myself spiritually, even if it's not from Christianity itself. Because I think a lot of religions have a lot of great things to offer. Because I just think having a good spiritual base and like belief in your core values, it really grounds you. Because at the end of the day, if you have a shit day, you can be like, all right, was I the best person I could be today? Like, did I make the world a better place today? Or at the very least, not make it a worse place,
Yeah.
So, and even if it's just like with a smile or a friendly conversation, I really believe like putting positive energy in the world is what you're supposed to do. And I also accept other people's beliefs. Like there's a lot of my friends who don't believe you have to be nice to everyone. And I'm like, that's fine. But like, I really think you should be kind to people. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Who's an example? Like when you say modern, like a modern version of Christianity, who are some people that you read or you listen to that sort of fit into that category a little more?
They're honestly not. Like I joke with my friends that I'm starting a new religion called Christianity.
I'm getting just based on your Instagram, for everyone who hasn't seen Chris's Instagram yet, I'm getting a vibe that you've got plenty of plays on your word, on your name.
Oh,
so what's your name?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas
Merry
and Christianity. No, I like it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've cut you off.
there's the Karibal, and this is a little blasphemous, but I call myself Karist sometimes.
Only when you've ticked off all the things on your list.
Basically, and then I have a joke of the holy Karas, which is where I like flip someone off and fit both ways. And we have one really conservative religious guy on the team who just every time I do it, he's just like, "You were doing so well until you said that." We don't do that. But yeah, I really like C.S. Lewis. I don't agree with everything, but his stuff is really, really good. I'm very thoughtful because I'm from the South, so there's a lot of religious stuff that it seems more brainwashy. It's well, where's the logic in this? Please explain. And there's no logic in it. I'm a scientific based person, so I almost just moved away from it completely. But then I read some C.S. Lewis, and I was like, this guy is literally making a logical standpoint on Christianity, which I couldn't explain myself, but he does it so well in all his writing. And I also really like Henry Drummond. He's a Scottish guy, actually. He wrote something called The Greatest Gift in the World, and that book is amazing. So there's a couple of authors that I really like. I
promise I'm not just saying this just because you've mentioned his name, and it's definitely not the book you're probably referring to something like Mere Christianity with C.S. Lewis. But
I love it.
I'm halfway through The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, because can you believe I've never read it? I'd never read it as a kid.
That's a great one too.
I'm literally halfway through, and I can't remember what the name of his first book is, but which is terrible. But I just finished that, and then I'm just going through the Narnia series. It's so funny. I'm a 34-year-old man. It just feels strange that I'm enjoying The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe so much. But
no, it's a great book. He's a very intelligent writer, for any age.
Do you know Richard Rohr?
No.
Rich Rohr, check. He's got a really I guess his most well-known book. It's called Falling Upward. Check it out. I reckon you'd be a bit of a fan of Rich Rohr.
Yeah, I would definitely look into that.
I'll send you a link when we fix. But he's
none of my pencils have lead. It's kind of bad. They're all for show.
I'll text it. I'll message it to you when we finish up. But see, that was a random. I told you I'll take you on random rabbit holes, and here we are. And then I got to figure out how we got here and how to get out of it.
Because this is about running, right?
Apparently, and now we're talking about Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I'm confused, and I'm supposed to be the guy running this show.
Podcast?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Apparently, apparently. What did I want to ask you? That's right. We were talking about mindset a little bit before.
Yeah, finding happiness and running without success.
Yeah. So that's how we got onto it. You were talking about that spiritual side, but I was interested in whether or not you had any little practical strategies that you use on a daily basis just to check in with yourself, to make sure that there's no real negative vibes taking over, or there's no real. I often find, especially the last couple of years through the whole COVID thing, I've caught myself a few times being like, man, you're a jerk. You're so angry. You're so grumpy. This is not you. And a couple of people close to me called me out on it as well. I was like, oh no, I thought I was just overanalyzing the situation. So I had to really bring myself in check and go, all right, I need a couple of things just to be able to keep myself accountable. So do you have those kind of things, whether it's meditation or whether it's, I don't know, whatever Karisa's version of maintaining the positive mindset is, because you seem to be doing a great job.
I'm trying to think. I mean, you can't be positive if you're not enjoying your life. So you just got to find a way to enjoy your life. And I think, because I wasn't this positive last year. I wasn't negative, but I was pretty neutral. I felt I was who am I now? I don't feel like myself. And once I started incorporating things in my life to make myself enjoy it more, it helped a lot. So I think, but as far as staying on track of who I want to be, when I wake up in the morning, I have one or two things that I've written down that help inspire me. So whatever I struggled with the day previously, I'll write something down to look at the next day to be all right, we're going to be better about this. I'm trying to remember what I have written down, but yeah, we just write down hey, this is what really matters. This is what you're trying to achieve today. Go do that. And then at the end of the day, not every day, but most days, I'll have 3 things that I could have done better in the day, but then also 3 things that I'm grateful for. So recognizing I could be better, and then also recognizing how lucky I am. And that's helped me a lot as well. But honestly, the biggest thing is just enjoying my life, enjoying just, everyone has different things they enjoy, but if you go through obviously there's gonna be bad days, but if you go through months and months of your life and you look back and you're I didn't enjoy that. There's a difference between being depressed and not enjoying. Being depressed is a really, really bad place. but also not enjoying your life is sad too. Like you might not be depressed, like, or, but it's still like you could be optimizing your life in a way where you really enjoy it instead of you're just getting through every day.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Hey, I'm curious, just for the last few minutes, I had a couple of sort of rapid fire questions I wanted to throw to you. Just some real practical ones that I think are super related to the running scene, that always just try and leave like a couple of real little nuggets with the guys that are listening to this. But just out of curiosity, so I don't know how long you've been. I think I read that you started running when you were like 8, maybe.
Yeah, 8. I ran a 5K in 26 minutes. It was great.
As an 8-year-old?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. I was a prodigy, man. I don't know what
you were a prodigy. That is incredible. So how old are you now?
25.
25. So what's that? 17. Okay. So in your 17 years of running training or of running, like what do you feel like a couple of just really helpful practical things that you've learned are? Like, is there anything that if you had to boil down like all of your wisdom in the world of running that you could tell yourself a few years ago? I probably should have prepped you for this question because I would have no idea what I would say, but you seem to be thinking on your feet. So I'll throw it at you with confidence and just sit back and watch you try and find something.
Yeah, one of the things, I think I've said this before, but one of the things I would tell myself, at least as a high schooler, like, is like, don't be afraid to reach out to be better. Like, I think the turning point for me in my career was when I found someone who knew how to become a great athlete. Because if you don't know what it looks like to become a great athlete, it's probably not going to happen. Like, I got really lucky in college. Like, I think I still would have been really good, but the turning point was I had a coach who was really, really good. And there was a guy on the team who was really, really good, and he knew how to work hard. He knew how to be disciplined. And they like kind of showed me the ropes. Like, if you really want to be great, find that person to show you the ropes. Like, always look for someone. Like, if someone's better than you, ask them for advice how they got there. Like, don't do everything like religiously like they do, but like seek out people who are better than you. Don't be afraid to ask. Like, I feel like a lot of people are too proud to ask people who are better than them for help, but you have to have if you really want to be great in running or anything, I think honestly, like, you have to have this childlike mindset where you're always like begging to learn more. Because when you stop learning, you're going to stop growing, even in running. Like, I'm still listening to podcasts of all these other athletes and how they got better. And like, I know I'm not number one in the world, but I'm still getting better as an athlete. So I think that's really important, is to like, because I don't know if your question is for like if you want to be really good or
no. That was a perfect answer. No, I was just interested to know. Like, it was probably a bit of a broad question, but yeah, essentially you answered what I was wondering, which is just like what advice would you give to someone based on all your years of running experience? That's an awesome answer. Who are a couple of those people that you really look up to?
Now, I just listened to a Lex Friedman podcast with George St. Pierre.
Oh yeah.
And it was really good. I was like, this guy is awesome. Like, people who are really mentally hardened are like people who I really look up to, because I think I can be really, really tough, but I also I know how much it hurts to be that tough. So I'm like really timid, like, oh, I really don't want to do that. So people who are like, I don't care about pain, I'm doing this, they're like, oh my God, that guy's amazing. Like, people who step in a ring and literally get their ass beat, I'm like, because that's what a race is. Like, you're going into this race and you know you're about to hurt like hell, but you do it anyways. And it's impressive to me. Like, when I step on the start line, I'm terrified out of my mind of the pain. Like, it's not even the results that scare me the most. It's the pain that I know I'm about to have to go through. But that's also what I love about running. It's like every day I'm going out there and I'm facing my fears. Like, I'm being brave and I'm overcoming that thing that really terrifies me. So people who do that and successfully, it's really impressive to me. And even honestly, even my teammate Marta, like, she slams every single workout. Like, it's like she's like, oh yeah, bring on the pain, I want it. And I'm just like, I don't. But it's inspiring to see. It's like, yeah, I want to be that hardcore person who's like, I love pain. Like, I want to be a masochist, but I'm just not.
So what's your training partner's name? Is it Marta?
Yeah, I have a couple training partners, but usually I line up with Marta.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is she the girl who just pipped you in the 800 the other day? Is that?
No, that was Lori. Marta's the one who beat me in the 1500. She finished just before Jessica Hull. She got second at this last race, and she's also an Olympian for Portugal.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Man, very nice. See, I didn't know that Seattle had such a reputation for having great athletes. Like whenever I think of the US and the running scene, I'm always thinking like Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah. Boulder doesn't have anything on Seattle.
Yeah. Is that right? Like Seattle's, you've been obviously like we've touched on the fact it was a bit of a roller coaster your first couple of years for a variety of reasons, but like looking back from the running perspective, the last couple of years, it's like it's a pretty cool place to train.
Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal place to train. I mean, Brooks is the only team here, but I feel like people are starting to notice it's actually, I mean, you want to get out in the winter. The winter sucks. Like we go to Albuquerque for a month during the winter.
Yeah.
But it's a great place to train. The trails are absolutely phenomenal. Like it's breathtaking, the views. Like we have this one run that's 45 minutes outside of town, and like you're literally running alongside this mountain, and you look and like you can see other mountains, and you're just like on this bridge swerving, and it's picturesque. It's not Bruton, Alabama. That's all I'm saying.
What is that? What's it called? Bruton, Alabama. Where you're from?
Yeah, Bruton.
Is that not picturesque? Or are you saying it really is picturesque?
I mean, it's cute, but it's like just a bunch of trees. There's no mountains. It's completely flat. Like I think everything has beauty. It's just Seattle has such an epic beauty. It's like in your face.
Wow.
You know? Like, I feel like Alabama's like a I don't know, a chihuahua. Like, some people are like, ew, what the hell? And then Seattle's like a husky, and everyone's just like, this is just amazing. Man, sorry, I like dogs a lot.
That's cool. Yeah. No, awesome. That's a good reference to me as well, because so do I. Chihuahuas, I understand the analogy. No, awesome. That's really good. I've never been to Seattle, but I'm once things settle down, I'm pretty keen. Like, we're going to try and get back over to see my brother-in-law in the States and hopefully see a few more places. So if I'm around, if I make it to Seattle or wherever you are, we'll line up a run or whatever, because it'd be good to catch up. But yeah, that was awesome. Thanks so much for stopping by for an hour and having a chat. Honestly, your energy's it's super infectious, and your attitude's super infectious as well. So as a person who's trying to bring some positivity to the world, you're doing an awesome job. I get that vibe just through looking at your Instagram. I was like, man, this chick's bringing heaps to the table. So
thank you.
Awesome work.
Thank you so much. Glad it's working out.
No, you're doing great.
But honestly, I was half afraid that you thought I was Karisa Schweischer. I'm like, if he thinks I'm Schweischer, I'm just gonna go along with it for a little bit.
If he thinks you're what?
I thought you thought I was Karisa Schweischer for a second. I was like, I guess I'll go on and I'll just pretend like I'm Schweischer for a while.
No, you just claim it. Not at all. Hey, this is terrible. I don't even know who that is.
Are you serious?
I crossed my heart. Who is it?
She's like a really good girl from the US.
Okay, maybe I'll reach out to her and invite her on.
Yeah, she has the American record in the 3K, I think.
What's her name?
She made the Olympics. Schweischer, Karisa Schweischer.
I don't deserve to host a podcast. That's despicable.
Yeah, is this a running podcast?
No, it's a religion podcast. We've already established that.
Please follow Christianity. I will post a blog on all my beliefs, and it's good to go.
Amen. No, that's so good. No, I definitely didn't think you were Kurt Schleicher. I don't know. Names isn't strong.
Sure, it's fine.
Yeah, I would like to apologize to.
I've never gotten that before, so it feels really good.
I'd like to apologize to every American female athlete just for whose names I've butchered.
Every American man. You gotta apologize to everyone.
Wait, I'm gonna let you go, but that was a really fun hour. Hey, thanks again.
Hey, anytime. I had a lot of fun too. See you later.